You're welcome, boys and girls, to our very 8th lesson. I'm sure you looked at transatlantic trade with teacher Mbana last time. And I believe he told that the word transatlantic means across Atlantic Ocean. And he also told that transatlantic trade was a type of trade carried out by the people of Africa, Europe, and North America across Atlantic Ocean. And he also told you that transatlantic trade was also known as triangular trade because the trade routes formed a triangular shape while joined. The trade routes formed a triangular shape when joined. Boys and girls, there are so many other issues that we looked at under transatlantic trade. But then today, we want to look at another new subtopic, and that is none other than TransSaharan Trade. TransSaharan Trade. Now, before we go any further, there are some few words that we need to understand. Like, for example, the word trans. The word trans means across. And then trans-Saharan means across Sahara Desert. And then trans-Saharan trade means the type of trade that was carried out by the people of West Africa and North Africa across Sahara Desert. I want to repeat that. Trans-Saharan trade was the type of trade carried out by the people of West Africa and North Africa across Sahara Desert. We can write it down there. We are saying that trans-Saharan trade was the type of trade that was carried out by the people of West and North Africa across Sahara Desert. But then don't forget that trans-Saharan traders used to move in caravans. They used to move in caravans. You looked at caravan trade with Tiamba, I don't want to go deep there. But then we need to understand why trans-Saharan traders moved in caravans or in large groups. Boys and girls, the main reason was for protection against bandits. Trans-Saharan traders moved in caravans for protection against bandits. Bandits are highway robbers. And yes, of course, they also attacked trans-Saharan traders in Sahara Desert. You can also say that they moved in caravans for protection or just for safety. Boys and girls, we also want to look at the transatlantic trade routes. Do not forget that the trans-Saharan trade routes were established along or rather across Sahara Desert, and they also established along oases. Oases are places with water and vegetation in the desert. So trans-Saharan routes were established near oases because oases provided cool conditions for these trans-Saharan traders to rest. Now, we want to look at the map of West Africa, actually West and North Africa, showing trans-Saharan trade routes. What you see over there, that the whole of that area is occupied by Sahara Desert. So the trade routes, you can even see, this is Sahara Desert, the whole of this. So the trade routes were established across this Sahara Desert. And the name Trans-Saharan is derived from the desert itself, Trans-Saharan. So, boys and girls, we are looking at the trade routes that run across Sahara Desert. You can even look at our trade routes. You find out that some routes head towards North Africa, and yet others head towards West Africa. So we're running across Sahara Desert. Now, this sculpture you're seeing, this is just a sculpture of clay. It's a clay sculpture of a horse and a rider from Mali. Boys and girls, can we go ahead and we look at the items of trade? We want to look at the trade items from West Africa. There were so many trade items that traders from North Africa got from West Africa. And these include, one, we had slaves. And slaves were the main item of trade that was got from West Africa, or that was got from West Africa. Slaves were very important, especially to Trans-Saharan traders, in a way that they served as porters and also served as domestic servants. The other item, and actually Goa Island in Senegal, was the main slave trade market from West Africa, in West Africa. And this Trans-Saharan trade had got slaves from Goa Island in Senegal. The second item of trade, boys and girls, we have ivory. Ivory was yet another precious item that was got from West Africa. You know, ivory is got from elephant tusks. Therefore, many elephants in West Africa were killed just because traders were much more interested in ivory. The other item, boys and girls, we had skins and hides. Yes, skins are got from small animals, whereas hides are got from large animals. So skins and hides were yet another valuable item of trade from West Africa. We also have what you call gold. You all know how valuable gold is. So it was so precious, and it was gold from Timbuktu. Timbuktu, boys and girls, is a town in a country known as Mali in West Africa. So Timbuktu was a chief gold mining area during Trans-Saharan trade. The other item of trade, we had salt. You know salt, and you always consume it. We also have tortoise shells. This was also very important in a way that was used for decoration. Now, we want to look at items of trade from North Africa. There were so many items of trade that were got from North Africa. One of them we had guns. So guns were mainly got from North Africa. And these guns were mainly needed by African chiefs and kings in West Africa. These guns were used for defense, protection by African chiefs and kings. They also used them to expand their kingdoms by raiding neighboring communities. Another item of trade, we had gunpowder. We also had clothes. Of course, you know what clothes are, and some of you, most of you are putting on them. We also have utensils. When we talk about utensils, we mean a combination of plates, spoons, cups, saucepans, and so many others. So that we got from North Africa. We also had ornaments. These ones were worn as a symbol of prestige. We also had jewellery. It was another precious item from North Africa. So we want to look at this. But before we look at this, before we look at this in diagram, can we also look at ostrich feathers? They were also an item of trade from North Africa, and these ostrich feathers were used for making jackets, making them huge and soft. We also want to look at these items in diagram, like we want to look at the guns. So these are the examples of guns that were traded during Trans-Saharan trade. They were very important in expanding kingdoms, protection and defense. We also want to look at ostrich feathers. We say they were very important in the way that they were used for making jackets, coats, by softening and making them huge. We also have jewellery. These were so precious in a way that when people wore them, they were a symbol of prestige. And boys and girls, even today we have some people with jewellery. Some of your parents and relatives have them. We also have ornaments. These ones are also for decoration and prestige. And then finally, we want to look at tortoise shells. We say this is for it was for decoration. Many people love tortoise shells mainly for protection. But remember, it was got from West Africa. It was an item of trade during Trans-Saharan trade from West Africa. Boys and girls, we want to look at problems faced by Trans-Saharan traders. There were so many problems that were faced by Trans-Saharan traders while they were trying to execute their duties in the name of trade. One of them, we had attacks from bandits. Attacks from bandits. So bandits are just robbers, or can call them highway robbers. So they kept on attacking Trans-Saharan traders. They would loot and they took over their valuable items of trade. The other problem was strong sandstorms. Strong sandstorms. You know, always in deserts there is always strong wind. So this wind keeps on blowing through deserts and raising a lot of sand. It was a problem to Trans-Saharan traders in a way that it hindered the movement of these traders. We also have, they also face the problem of high temperatures. You know, deserts are always very hot. Deserts are very hot during day, but also very cold during night. Why? Because of absence of clouds that hold the warmth. They will ask you one day that why are deserts cold during day? Cold during night and hot during daytime? We can simply say due to clear skies. Due to clear skies. Another person can say due to absence of clouds that hold the warmth. Another problem was shortage of safe drinking water. There was no safe drinking water in Sahara Desert. But then these Trans-Saharan traders got their water, safe drinking water, from oases by chance. We finally want to look at how Trans-Saharan trade affected the people of Africa. Boys and girls, for more than 100 years of Trans-Saharan trade in Africa, it produced so many remarkable outstanding effects, which were both positive and negative. Now, let's start by looking at how Trans-Saharan trade positively affected the people of Africa. One, we are saying it united the people of West and North Africa. Yes, of course, since they kept on interacting in the name of trade, there was promotion of unity among these two groups, from North Africa and West Africa. The other group, the other positive effect was new items of trade were introduced. There were so many new items of trade that were introduced. For example, the guns, the ornaments, and so many other items that we looked at. The other positive effect was Trans-Saharan trade made African chiefs and kings to grow rich. So we can say African chiefs and kings grew rich. So many African chiefs from West Africa that participated in Trans-Saharan trade grew rich. The other effect, boys and girls, we can say Trans-Saharan trade led to the growth of ancient kingdoms. There were so many ancient kingdoms in West Africa that grew and expanded as a result of Trans-Saharan trade. For example, we have the Mali Empire in Mali. We had Ghana in Ghana, and then Songhai. All those kingdoms and empires expanded, or rather developed, as a result of Trans-Saharan trade. So that was a positive effect. On the other hand, we want to look at the negative effects of Trans-Saharan trade. Yes, there were various negative effects of Trans-Saharan trade towards the development of Africa, especially West Africa. One, boys and girls, we had the population of West Africa. Not forget that we say that one of the main items of trade from West Africa to North Africa was slaves. So many people were taken as slaves to North Africa to serve as domestic servants and also to work as potters. So the number of people reduced in West Africa. Hence, the population of West Africa. That was negative to be looked at. Another negative effect was reduction in the number of elephants. You know, ivory was a precious item from West Africa. So this forced the Africans in West Africa to kill so many elephants to get elephant tusks for ivory. And therefore, there was a reduction in the number of elephants as a result of Trans-Saharan trade. The other negative effect was displacement of people. Displacement of people. Since some Africans in West Africa were taken as slaves, that's already displacement. So many of them lost their historical origin because they were forced to leave their homeland, their original or rather homeland. They were forced to leave their motherland or original homeland to areas that were beyond their understanding. Therefore, we can say a Trans-Saharan trade led to displacement of people. Boys and girls, I want to appreciate and thank you for